In the age of social media, all it takes nowadays to spark up an online fight is to merely have an opinion. One opinion will cause many to spiral into a pit hole of anger where no one dialogues, only insults the person who has the unpopular or even the popular opinion regarding the latest trends in comic books, movies, or pulp culture. It makes sense given the circumstance. After all, acting tough behind the protective wall of the black mirror we all own and use on a daily basis makes it easy for anyone to jump right into a tirade of insults and threats. Again, just for having an opinion that they may disagree with. I decided to go against that notion. I've decided to start a video series where we discuss the hot topic issues within the comic book industry and pulp culture and provide you with another perspective. One of logic, reason, with just plain old dialogue between two people who have different opinions. My co-host and I will discuss the pop culture topics at hand in a fun, engaging, and respectable manner. So, without further ado, let's talk about it. Yo, what's up, everyone? Happy New Year.
Yep.
2024 is here. I just realized I was looking at my Twitter right now and I saw that I put down, let's talk about 2023.
Man, the first mistake of the year.
The first mistake of the year. I fucked that up. I meant to say 2024. Kyle and I will be talking about the things that we want to see in 2024 when it comes to comics, be it mainstream or indie, and also for movies and TV shows or any other stuff that may come across our table here. But Kyle, how was your New Year's, man? How's everything been since we had a hiatus there for a while, but now we're back to it. So just let us know what exactly. How did your end of the year go?
Wow, that's a lot of questions there.
I know. I'm fucking all over the place.
It's good. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if it hopefully can translate better through here, but I did get a microphone, so I hopefully am sounding a little more clear and not so distant and muffled or anything like that. That was a Christmas gift that I got, so that was
Nice, very
fun.
nice.
But in terms of like this past year, it's been fun, and now that let's see, I've been collecting comics for over a year now. And so we were talking about this right before we got on, and we were talking about my collection and how much it's grown. And
Yeah.
I found this. Go. Wait, what do you want to say?
Oh, I was gonna say, like, it was funny because in the green room, he asked me, "Oh, you want to take a guess as to how many books I have?" And me, I gave him a terrible answer. And I
You
was thinking about it, I was like,
lowballed it so
let's see, a
bad.
year. You have 2 boxes. And I was like,
I
500.
said, I said I had 2 long boxes and like 8 long short boxes,
And
and
it
you
wasn't
guessed.
computing. You know what? I wasn't paying attention. That was my fault.
Well,
Uh,
that's all
I
the
know,
time
and
anyway.
I was like 500. But why don't you tell them how many comics you've already accumulated since the past year when you started collecting?
Around 1,250.
1,250.
Yeah,
Nice.
1,250, and I have read about 300 of those.
300. Now, out of those 300, which one's the one that stuck out to you the most, or maybe you're currently reading one? Which one's kind of like, oh, damn, this is actually really good. Wow.
I would say of all the ones that I've read so far, the ones that stood out that I remember the most, at least from the storylines, was the Long Halloween,
Nice.
Batman Long Halloween, Superman. I forgot what number it was, but it's the one that's where they first introduce the Elite. And
Oh, that's Action
Superman.
Comics number 775.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. The What's Wrong with Truth, Justice, and American Way.
Yes. Very
Yeah.
classic issue. Very renowned and beloved by a lot of Superman fans. So that's cool that you
Um.
got to. That's one of your favorites that stuck out to you. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Chrononauts by Mark Miller. A lot of Mark
Nice,
Millers.
nice.
Um. And
Hey, Kyle, look at what Benjamin just said.
you just want to see Julius. I just want to see Julius and Kyle make me cry.
We're not gonna make you cry, Ben, but we are gonna be honest. Look,
Yeah.
Justin Soto, by the way, is Benjamin Soto's brother, so they're having a little, brotherly love going on there. Yeah, get that popcorn ready. But no, we stick around. For those of you who are on the show right now, we are going to review. Kyle's going to review Benjamin Soto's comic book, which is called. I'm sorry.
Man, you just can't even figure it out, huh?
Um,
Cephas the vampire.
you know what,
Cephas.
Benjamin? Well, I guess when you're on the show, we'll ask you, but I think it's Cephas the vampire,
Cephas.
or it's a Cephas the vampire. I can't remember, but we're going to be discussing that as number one for the.
As you know, I'm terrible with pronouncing names.
Yes,
so
yes, you are. It's part of Benjamin Soto's Halloween Head Comics Trick and Treats Volume 2, Cephas the Vampire. We'll be reviewing that, and he'll be sitting in the hot seat. He'll be here joining us, and Kyle was going to give his review, and we're going to let Benjamin know what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, and whether or not it's worth the pickup.
Yeah. Right.
Come on, Oli. Don't throw the salt at poor Ben just yet, okay? We haven't got there yet. We're going to talk about 2024.
That'll come later.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss 2024, what's to come, and Kyle is gonna share his thoughts as to what he wants, what he expects, what he hopes for 2024. I will be doing the same thing, but I also will be discussing the little Twitter war that's been going on this past week between two big time indie creators.
It's X War. It's not Twitter war anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry, X War. I should say X War between two big time comic book indie creators. That's kind of been taking up my timeline, which has been kind of funny and a little. I was gonna say sad, but I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, this actually could be a good thing. But we could discuss that in more detail as as we go on. But go on. What were you gonna say before I interrupted you, Kyle, about the your comic book
Again,
collection?
as you always do. I always get on. I'm about to like get into something. You're like, "Oh, well, I have something I want to say." And
I'm a
then you just-
millennial. I have to like interrupt you whenever you talk.
apparently. So anyway, no, we were going over my collection and stuff, and I just wanted to mention that like out of all the books, like 800 of them are from DC Comics and only 200 are from Marvel.
Wow. So it's safe to
And
say that you're a DC guy.
yes, I would say so. Well, to be fair, a large majority of those is Green Lantern.
Okay.
So that falls under DC because that's like a majority of my collection. And then yeah, of course it has like a whole breakdown of statistics and stuff of like what's your favorite top character? It's Green Lantern. How about that? But top writers would be Jeff Johns
Jeff Johns.
and then Ron Mars, who did a lot of the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Then Mark Miller, Peter David, and then Tony Bedard. I don't know who that is, but so yeah, and then top cover artist, of course, Alex Ross is number
Nice.
one.
Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with Alex Ross. Alex Ross
Yeah.
is a top tier artist. You know, it's funny. Ray Ramos, I believe, from 656, shared a story one time during the Domingasos stream. Remind me only if that was the case. And he said that he went to a con where Alex Ross was attending, and he described how he went to his table, and apparently it was set up as like a circle, right? And
like an art museum or something like that, right?
Kind of. And he was sitting in the middle of the circle drawing. And as Ray approached the table to look at, the pieces that he was selling, they had no price tags on them. So as he was looking, at of course, Alex Ross's beautiful artwork, Alex Ross had handlers there, kind of like, these little assistants, kind of with these like, Mr. Ross,
white gloves.
Kind of like, white gloves. And one of them approached Ray and it's like, Mr. Ross would like $5,000 for that piece there, right there, you're looking at. And I was like, and then Alex Ross was in the middle, just drawing like almost like a king, like or king-like, status, where he's like, I can't be bothered talking
don't disturb the master.
Yeah, to the plebes. I'm too busy making magic. And I mean, yeah, Alex Ross does make magic. You can't deny that.
Hey, as long as he's making the good art and it's not getting worse. I mean,
yeah, no, he seems to just get better and better with age.
Yeah. But yeah, and then in terms of just like in general collecting and what I've learned, not a whole lot. No, just kidding.
Okay, you know what? That's a good segue.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil, Ray just responded to one of my tweets saying, "Bro, it's 2024, bro. Get an editor."
We already discussed it. We moved on.
Let's go through your 2023. Like, what did you learn? Since you're a new collector, you could let us know what you've learned from coming into this, this hobby of ours, right? That's not ours, of that's been around for a long time. Yeah. What have you learned? What's your biggest takeaway? What are the things that you think can be changed, can be done better, or can, give us a glimpse as to what you're thinking?
Well, so far, I mean, like, I'm still learning, obviously, because there's a lot to learn.
Right.
But early on, learning about just the sort of the regular dynamics of how comics happen, in terms of like they come out once a month instead of every week on Wednesday. We talked about that. How I thought, oh yeah, I knew new comics came out every Wednesday, so I thought, I pick up the issue and then the next week we'd have the next issue on that series. But no, it's the next month. And then learning who some of the people are, some of the events of like big crossover events, timeline, stuff like that, learning about Silver Age, Golden Age, what those terms mean, because I didn't know what those were. You know, I've heard them before, but I didn't know like what time periods that those are referring to. Grading comics and how like crazy grading comics is.
Grading comics, CGC. Did you hear about the controversy regarding CGC? The chat. If you guys are still listening to in the chat, did you guys hear about the CGC controversy that occurred? I think like this past few weeks about how someone was cheating the system or something like that.
Yeah, I was hearing about it. I was watching some videos on it. I saw what struck me was when I was scrolling through my Instagram and I saw a video of somebody showing I have a book here. Was showing that they were using like a heat gun to like melt the glue that was in between here, and then they'd use
That's
pliers to like
crazy.
pry it open a little and then slide out the book and then slide in a new book, re-glue it, and then they would send that in to CGC to get regraded, and then they'd take the real book and then put it in a blank holder and then send it back. At least that's from what I heard.
So Oli is not aware, and so is Justin is not aware. So as Kyle explained, so someone figured out how to melt the glue that keeps the seal closed, and they were able to pry it open, slide out the comic book, and then replace it with something else.
Yeah, like a lower copy, like close enough copy, like but it was like, so like this is like a 9.0.
Right.
They take this out and then they put in like maybe like an 8.5 or maybe like an 8.7 or something like that. So it's close enough where if you look at it, it's like, okay, that could probably be a 9.0, but in actuality, it's not. And so people were doing that for, and then also with other types of books too.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy, Justin. Crazy.
Yes, CGC released, and from one guy that they were able to determine, they tracked down, and it was like 350 books that he tampered with alone, that they singled him out. And they were looking at, I was looking at the list of what he was doing, and he got like Amazing Fantasy number 15 and swapped out those books. And you're thinking like, I was looking at the prices of like, the different grades of Amazing Fantasy 15, and it's like 1.2 difference in them is like $20,000.
That's crazy. Damn.
So he was just like skimming so much money off of this scam that he was pulling out there. They said they estimated around like at least $1 million, maybe $2 million.
$1 million?
Yeah.
That's
Because you have to think, it's like he was using a lot of books like that were easier to find, but not necessarily too hard. Like the Fantasy 15, that's pretty hard to find to get like 2 copies of.
course.
Like
Yeah.
he was getting like the first Black Cat, so it's like a couple $100 book, and swapping those. The first Wolverine in the Hulk issue.
That's Wolverine number. No, not Wolverine.
No, Hulk. It's Hulk.
Hulk number 181. Yeah, that one.
181.
That's crazy.
That was
dude.
the most popular one, I believe, that he was swapping out.
So Oli's asking the question here: use the heat gun without damaging the book. So yeah, I guess Oli, there was no damage to the book. It just, all it did was just melt the glue that they used, the CGC people, and you're able to pry it open and slide the comic out, and I guess it'd be okay.
Yeah, there's a video floating around showing how they did it, and then
X-Force. You know what, Freddie? X-Force does sound like a comic book. Well, I'm sorry, Kyle. Go on.
And then they would go and then they would send in that book to get regraded, or like I guess CGC also has something where you can get like a design on the label, so they would go and send the swapped copy in to get regraded / the new label. Take the real book, put it in a blank one of these and then send that in to get graded. So basically having 2
Dang.
copies.
So there you have it. That was the controversy. So if you guys who are watching the chat or watching the replay, if you guys have CGC graded books, CGC did right by releasing the list of books that have been compromised.
Mm-hmm.
And according to Kyle, they're willing to refund money.
They're going to compensate you. They're going to,
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but they say that if you believe that your book has been tampered with, then you can send it in and then, or go to the forum and fill out forms and stuff. And then they'll be able to take your book. And then I guess, I don't know what they're going to do. Either
Yeah, they have a
issue a
list.
number. Yeah.
They have a list of books that have been compromised. So if I were you, check out the website, the CGC website. I'm sure they'll have an update or some kind of link where you can click on it, and there you can see the list of books that have been compromised. And if you have one of those books, then hey, hit them up, because you never know, you might have a lower graded book with the wrong grade on top. So yeah,
There's
it's naughty,
another
dude.
YouTuber, that broke the news, and the way that I forgot the name. I can look it up, but I forgot who it was. I'll give him a shout out. But anyway, they broke the news because they noticed that it was I think it was one of the, what's the comic has Spider, it's like the Amazing Fantasy 15 pose, but he's in the black suit.
Oh, isn't it? No, I think that's an Amazing Spider-Man issue, just with the black.
Is it?
With a black suit, I believe.
Well, it was that one, and I guess they saw that book sold for like close to $10,000, and then like a month later, it was sold at like $7,000. So they were wondering why it was different, and then somebody found the two listings, and the books were different, but it still had the same serial number.
Right. Damn.
So that sort of sparked it.
That's crazy. Nuts. Wow. So there you have it, folks. That was the controversy behind the CGC fiasco. And when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, this is going to be, because I'm not a big fan of the grading system. I never was. I feel like it's something, I feel like it was a bit too greedy for me. And but I get it, though. It's always great to grade something so you can know for sure the level of quality you have, so that way when you sell it, it's in good condition. 9.0, 8.0, 10, whatever, or 9.5, whatever the case. But I was never a fan of them, but I understand the allure of it, and I also understand that a lot of comic shops use that so that way they could sell some books and pay the bills. And so I get that. So if you guys have a CGC book graded, I would recommend just check it out, especially if you have those kind of books, the Hulk 181 or the Amazing Spider-Man issues with the black suit or any other ones. Just check it out, because apparently the guy who was scamming everyone made like $1 million scamming people. So
what you think? I mean, there's 300 books. There are over 300 books that
over 300 books,
that he swapped. And if you're getting Amazing Fantasy 15 and Hulk 181s and First Black Cats and stuff like that, and like I said, the 0.0 difference between them is like $20,000. Adds up.
Yeah. And you don't want to.
So they said they're going to get caught either
selling the comic book, in case you do want to sell your CGC book, and finding out that it's one that's actually graded low, and now instead of you're selling your book for $10,000, now you have to sell it for $5,000, depending on the quality of the book. So just I highly recommend just double check. It won't hurt, and make sure you got the legit copies that you got, and the legit grading as well. I thought this was the end of CGC, but I have to give them credit. They actually did step up, and they actually did make sure that everyone who does have their system in place with their grading, that they were taken care of. So kudos to CGC for taking care of their customers, taking care of the people who trusted them with the grading system, and making amends for some assholes attempt to scam people. So So kudos to the CGC company and the people that work there.
Yeah, I know but it's crazy that happened.
I know, dude. That's nuts, man. That's
and
really
like,
nuts.
and they just now caught on to it. It's like, if he was doing it, obviously, I mean, there'd probably be other people that were doing it as well. They have to find them. So
Yeah.
we'll just have to see what happens, how it all falls through. And like I was reading the comments that says Benjamin So says that maybe you're gonna have to come up with some kind of magnetic strip. Like that's what I was talking about. Like, when we were talking, maybe having like a, if seal broken void type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that might be the next step. It wouldn't hurt to have that seal around the maybe on the tops and maybe on the bottom, so that way there's no way for you to slide out the book. In the case,
well, the top they have to have it because it has the name and the grade, so that way when they're sitting in, you can kind of just see what it is. But yeah, maybe at least the bottom and the sides.
Absolutely. Damn, that's gnarly, dude. Well, there you guys have it. That's what we wanted to Kyle wanted to talk about this in today's show because he owned a few CGC books himself, so he wanted to make sure.
I just have two.
Oh, you have two. So you have what's that? Action Comics.
This is Action Comics number 626.
Oh, nice. Signed, right?
Signed by Roy Thomas.
Oh, nice, dude. Roy Thomas, really?
Yeah. Who's he?
Roy Thomas is a freaking legend, man, in the comic book industry.
He is?
Yeah, dude. He was right. Roy Thomas was a writer around the time Stan Lee was a writer, and he wrote some really solid stories.
Oh, I just liked it because I like the cover.
Well, I mean, you got yourself a nice book there. Too bad you can't read it and open it.
I have this book, a raw copy as well.
Oh, okay.
So I can read it.
Aerith is asking where the drama later. Aerith, later we're gonna be talking about that. So stick around, and we'll be discussing that.
I got this one. This was my first one.
Oh, nice.
Lantern number 72.
Is that one also signed too?
It's unsigned by Ron Mars and Paul Petler.
Nice.
I got this up. It was cheap. It was like $20 or something.
Oliver wants to know how much does it cost to get graded. You bought those graded already, right?
I bought them graded, but my local comic shop, Cal, he knows him. Anyway, he was saying that they are about $20 per book to get graded.
Oh, there you go, Oli. $20.
And if they can press them and clean them for you, but I think that's like another like $5 or $10 per book.
I see. Okay.
And then however much shipping it is too.
Grade A drama. Well, we'll be talking about grade A drama in a minute, but other than the CGC controversy, is there anything else you want to discuss about 2024? I know you are currently still going to the comic shops. You're buying weekly books. You're just consuming like a sponge of all the stuff that's out there. Is there anything that you're looking forward to, or that you want to look forward to come 2024 when it comes to the comic book industry, or not just comic book industry, but also films and TV shows and what have you?
Well, so keep it narrow. I'm going to focus specifically on the comic books for this question right now. But for comic books, I've said this before, I'm more of the story guy. So as long as the story is engaging, then I'll be happy. And I mentioned to you, at work and stuff, but there's, a lot of my pull box. Yeah, I'm still pulling a lot of books, but this last week, I don't know why. It was just some like week where I just dropped like 3 or 4 titles because I got them and I was hoping that they would, keep on going, but it just there's no story there. There's no action. There's nothing that's going on that keeps me entertained. And realistically now too, price is becoming more of an issue because if every book's like $5, it's like it adds up quick. And
for sure, especially if the quality of the stories and the quality of the books are not I guess, up to par, then why spend the $5, right? I mean, I'm
Well,
sure. Well, let me ask you this then: if the books were, let's just say, for instance, the books were top quality. I mean, I'm talking
yeah.
like the story was engaging, it had you excited for the next issue, it had you pumped and
Hmm.
ready for the next issue. Would you drop
I
those
want to look
books,
at
or
the
would
price
you think
tag.
it was worth it?
I wouldn't even look at the price tag. If I knew that it was a really good book,
Yeah,
I wouldn't even look at it. I just like, okay, I need to buy it. But it's like I like some of these books, like I'll go down the list, but like Captain America, some like the new Captain America that's out. I got
yeah.
it. The first couple issues, you were reading it as well.
I was
But
reading Captain America, J. Michael Straczynski. I was very curious. I was very excited about it because it was Captain America. It was what I liked. But yeah, I think after the third issue, I was like, "What's happening here? I don't understand what's happening." And I dropped it. I dropped the book because it
yeah,
wasn't
I
it wasn't
I
working
made
for
it
me.
to like 4 or 5, wherever it's the most recent one that just came out. And I flipped through it, and there's like still just no action that's going on. And I'm like, I don't want to waste another $5. If I go and pick it up next week, I'll flip through it and see if there's action in it. But other than
Right.
that, no. Flash was one where I got because it looked interesting. The first couple issues were good, and then it just kind of got too weird. It didn't feel like a Flash book to me. It
Mm,
felt like a Doctor Strange type book where he's dealing like with mystical elements, and I think it's Mirror Master that's sort of doing like weird dimensional stuff, but it's like it's a little too weird for me,
mm.
and it's kind of turned me off. Justice Society was another one where it's written by Jeff Johns, and I love Jeff Johns. I love his. I mean, it's one of the top writers that was in my thing in my statistics, and uh, it's not like the dialogue was bad, but it just seemed like the story wasn't there, and maybe that was just because I don't know what happened, but like it just got really boring. So
Oh,
that's just the thing. It's just sort of mediocrity that's killing it.
interesting. Okay. So
Um, I was reading the chat, and Benjamin So says, "Have I read the Transformers or Duke books?"
yeah,
I just picked up Duke. I have been reading Transformers. Um,
thank you, Tom.
Transformers.
Look at Lucas stop by and say hi.
Oh, who?
Dionysius himself.
Oh, wow, nice.
Thanks, man. I
Mhm.
appreciate it, dude.
Awesome.
Hopefully you can one day join us again. And when you do your Tome of Reckoning issue 2, come
Yeah,
on by and we'll discuss the book because we're
well, I'll
curious to
review
see
it.
what we got next.
But yeah, but with the Transformers, it's been
Badass
okay
Turner.
in my opinion. The Transformers have been okay. The latest issue, actually, like we were talking about it. I can make a video on it, reviewing it. But
Right.
the this last issue, I wish that they had kept the shock value. Like they did a shocking thing, but then they kind of walked it back and not made it so impactful because they're gonna like kind of undo it at the end. I'm not spoiling anything, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Um, and that kind of turned me off because I understand that it's Transformers, it's a kid property and stuff like that, but I was generally hoping that it would be like a more darker, serious type of book.
Yeah, but you have to consider it's a licensed out IP. You really can't do too much craziness with it. You have to stick
Yes,
within the
but in
boundaries.
the first, like in one of the first or second issues, uh Starscream like grabs a guy and squishes him to death, and there's like blood and stuff on Starscream's face. So it's
Okay.
like
I mean,
if they can do that, then why can't they just keep,
it could be. Well, I mean, there's probably a creative reasoning for that. Maybe they got permission by Hasbro. I think they still own the property rights to
yeah, Hasbro
Transformers.
still owns
So
them.
they probably reached out to Hasbro and says, "Is it okay if we do this?" And they probably said, "Okay," but as long as A, B, and C are met, and
Yeah,
perhaps there was a compromise there, because I would imagine Robert Kirkman, is a fan of the property, which is the reason why
right.
he reached out and got the rights to the license rights to produce these books. So I'm sure there's something brewing. Obviously GI Joe, not GI Joe, but Duke is a book that I actually wanted to pick up, but they sold out in my shop.
I got it because it was in my pull box.
Have you read it yet or no?
I haven't read it yet. It's in my to read box. But
okay.
I have read the GI Joe, and GI Joe is really good too.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I know because again, Robert Kirkman is the type of writer who likes the slow burn. He likes to wait and slowly build up until he gets to a fever pitch point where he throws something at you, and now you're like totally invested, and you go for it. Sorry, my little one decided to come in here and scare me.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay, say hi, and then you gotta go. Okay.
Hi.
All right.
Really got you, scared you.
She actually did kind of scare me. She did kind of did, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Tome was saying about Void Rivals too. I've been reading that, and
right.
It's like it's almost there of interesting. It's like it's close to being interesting, but then it starts to get dull, and then they just throw in Transformers or GI Joe reference in there, and it's like, okay, it's gonna get there, and then it kind of gets a little more dull, and then they throw in another GI Joe or Transformers reference. It just seems like they're kind of petering it along, that like enough to where you are not gonna drop it, but then also I'm not necessarily like chomping at the bit to read it either.
Well, I'm hoping. I mean, because that's the book that's supposed to bring everything together, right?
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm reading it, is just because it's supposed to be the glue that holds all of it together.
I think it's gonna pay off. You just gotta stick with it a little bit.
I know that's what you keep on saying, but like, how long do I have to?
How many issues is it already?
I think it's on like 6 or something.
Oh, okay, come on, dude. It's still kind of early. You know what you're experiencing right now, Kyle?
Yeah.
You know what you're experiencing?
Millennialism and
no. You're experiencing a run. That's what a run looks like.
Oh, see, I haven't had that.
Remember the last show we talked about runs and how like they're missing and there's not many of them.
Yeah.
I think right now, Kyle, you're experiencing something beautiful. You're experiencing the I guess the unfolding of a run of a series. So if you're you said 6 issues?
I'm trying to find where I put him. I couldn't.
Well, whatever. You're
at
the 6th issue of Void Rivals, right?
Give me a second. I'm trying to find it. Okay, here. 6. Yeah, I was right. 6.
So 6. Okay. Being that Spike's dad is a vet, I wonder if he'll have a connection to G.I. Joe. Well, I guess we'll have to keep reading, right, Justin?
Yeah.
But I think what's going on here with Void Rivals, you're probably experiencing a run here, and just go with it, dude. This is what runs are supposed to do. They're supposed to get you a little bit, give you a little bit of things, and then you're supposed to keep wanting to read it. And eventually, as what happened with, because Robert Kirkman's writing it, right?
I believe so.
Rivals. I believe he is.
Yeah, he's writing it. Yeah, he's writing.
So as he did with Walking Dead and Invincible and his other works, he's always waited until he reached a certain point of a number issue, and then boom, hits you right in the face with something crazy. So just go with it, and maybe by issue 12 it'll happen. But you'll see. You hopefully, I'm just guessing here. Okay, hopefully by that time, you'll have the whole little run behind it, and when it hits you, you're gonna be like, oh, it's gonna all connect with you. That's the whole point of a
that's
run.
what I'm saying. It's not like it's necessarily bad. Like I do, like the characters are entertaining enough, but I think I'm just waiting for that thing to happen,
right,
to make it next level.
Well, just hold on to your horses and just keep on buying the next issue when it comes out.
Yeah. But also too, just like in general. Man,
my green screen fucking fell over. That's crazy.
everything's falling over. We were doing
Everything's
a
falling
test.
apart back here.
We
Damn.
were doing a test run, and like every single thing was like falling. The lamp was falling. The light was falling.
My young girl came in, scare me. Like, oh my god. It's those giants from Miami. They're haunting me now.
Yeah, look that up if you want to, but
So
yeah.
what it was my little girl.
Mm.
Hey, be careful! You almost knocked over my green screen.
Mm-hmm.
No. Come on. I'm doing this. Daddy's doing a show. Give me a second. So she knocked it over. Sorry, guys.
She just wants to ruin the stream.
She does.
Anyway, back to what I was saying about
Yeah.
Like I'm not finding many new interesting books to get. I've been looking around and I'm trying to like look for things that are different. I've been actually collecting a lot more non-superhero books actually. Besides like the normal ones that I have been collecting, I've been more gravitating towards other non-superhero books like Conan, the Rocketeer. I mean, they're like superheroes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Django, Zorro. I just picked up the last issue, which is #1 of the Django Zorro. So now I have the
very nice
whole series to read. I'm looking forward to reading this. But stuff like that. I'd say the one book that I have been enjoying the most that I'm reading is Miracle Man by Alan Moore.
Miracle Man by Alan Moore. I'm glad you're enjoying that. That's my favorite comic book. That's like the comic book that inspired me the most out of all his works. So I'm glad that you're reading that and experiencing that.
But another book that I was like, when I was this last Wednesday that I was going through and looking at the wall was Spawn. And one thing that caught my eye the most was I've always kind of liked the look of Spawn, but I never really wanted to get into it because I figured it was going to be confusing to read. But when I looked at the price point, it was only $2.99 instead of all the other books that are like $3-4.99. So that instantly drew me to it more. But then when I actually picked it up and flipped through it, it looked way too confusing. And like I had no idea what was going on. So I put
That's not that uncommon with Tom McFarlane.
Yeah, but hey, it made me go and pick it up. So and at least look at it and consider it. So that's more than I can say for a lot of books.
Fair enough.
Well, what about you? I've been doing a lot of talking. What about you? What's your aspirations for this next year? What do you expect? What have you learned? Or now knowing me and my sort of newfound love for comics, has that impacted you?
Yeah, actually a little bit. It has, if I'm being honest. I fell out of love with the mainstream comic books. I think back in 2013 or 14, around that time when I kind of fell out of love with mainstream comics. And I thought, I'm going to stick with indie, so I just focused purely on indie, Image Books, Dark Horse, Antarctic Press, and also the stuff that came out in crowdfunding like Indiegogo, Kickstarter, those kind of books. And yeah, you coming back into the foray, well, not coming back into the foray, but you being hired at our day job and finding out that you are actually a new reader, and you pretty much going to the shops and actually recommending me books, saying, hey, I read this book and it was pretty good. And it was cool to finally see. It was kind of refreshing because Twitter or X is a little bit of it's a cesspool of sorts. You have a bunch of haters on there. And I don't want to say haters like they're hating on the book because they're jealous of the success. I'm talking more like they just crap on everything. So it's hard to discern who's being genuine, who's being, I guess, facetious is the right word. I don't know if that's the right word. Yeah. And it's kind of...
yeah, I guess.
Just someone who just craps on something for the sake of crapping on it. Insincere. Yeah, insincere. And, it's hard to tell. Okay, I don't want to pick this book up because this person that I actually like, that I actually support or follow, is crapping on it. But I might like it, and I don't want to spend the $5. But then with you, you've been separated from social media. You just go and buy the books and read them, and just see whether or not you like them. And depending on
Right.
what you enjoy, I pick it up. And so, for instance, um, one book that I wanted to pick up that you mentioned it was pretty good was you said Punisher, right? You said Punisher was pretty all right, right?
No, Predator Wolverine.
Predator Wolverine. Well, I was gonna pick that up anyway because it's
Yeah,
Predator Wolverine,
well.
you know. Didn't you tell me
uh,
that? But didn't you say Predator was Punisher was okay
the
or
one,
no?
the new Predator, the new
The new
Punisher.
Punisher, yeah.
No, it was terrible.
Okay, I'm misremembering then.
Yeah.
Well, but you
What was the
have,
one I was telling you about?
but I mean, you have, in short, you have reinvigorated me to go to my comic shop and actually just trying things out and
Oh, it's the
seeing what's out
Godzilla,
there.
Kong, God, and Justice League too.
That's right, Godzilla and King Kong and JLA. But see, those are crossovers. I'm talking about like series. I'm talking about books, like an actual series of books.
I
I don't
don't
think
know.
there's any, right?
That I turned you on to that you
Yeah, I
now
don't think so.
collect.
Now that I think about it, I maybe just stuck out on my ass.
I mean, I have recommended books, but you haven't gone out and read them.
Yeah, I don't think I've been excited to like that excited, but
Yeah.
it is refreshing to hear someone outside of the social media sphere to at least go to the comic shop with and try things out, and just having fun again, which was cool. Which is I think that's what's missing in today's culture, is that too many people are just crapping on everything, and we don't know what's good and we don't know what's bad anymore. And which is a good segue to the war and because indie for me is where it's at, because
Yeah.
there is no editorial I guess editorial filter that we have with Marvel, DC, because editors jobs are to make sure that the product or the brand stays intact. And indie, you can go outside those walls and just fucking go as far as you want. And Aerith is on the stream, and he has a book called Dwarfs versus Lions, and he's been killing it on the TikTok market. Like he has
Really?
a TikTok shop, and he's been selling Dwarfs versus Lions. And a lot of people who purchased the book have been making videos about the book and how much they love it because it's so outrageous. And that's a great thing. That's something that's needed in today's market. You want excitement from readers, because the problem that I see amongst the indie comic scene is that there's a lot of indie creators who buy other indie creators' books, but not readers, not casual
Right.
readers like yourself, who are just looking at it going, "Hey, this is interesting. I want to back this and buy it and read it." And a lot of the times they back the books, and they buy them for the sake of simply supporting the creator, but not actually reading the book. So it's refreshing to see Brian, who's the writer of Aerith, who was also the writer of Dwarfs versus Lions, seeing people on TikTok making videos about, like, dude, I just bought this book and it's fucking wild. Like, I can't believe this is the craziest book I ever read. Let's see if I can find it right here real quick. But that's what I'm looking forward. That's what I want to target in 2024. I want to target readers. I want to target people who actually want to read comic books, not indie creators, which is fine too. I'm not discounting that. But the whole point of why I want to make comic books or produce comics or sell comic books is to sell them to people like you, the reader, the person who just wants to read comic books, good
Yeah.
ones at that. And it's cool to have someone like Brian produce stuff that just has people buzzing about his books, which is very cool. And I think that's something that we need to start focusing on. Hold on, let me just find some of his videos here, and I'll share them with the stream.
While you're doing that, I'll just give my 2 cents about the, trying to support indie creators and stuff. As somebody who mainly just goes to the comic book stores, it's a little difficult.
Lion, you got.
Sorry, hold on. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a little difficult finding some of these independent creators because I'm not on all the social media and stuff all the time, and I'm more of an exception because everybody is on social media and stuff. But I mean, the fact is that the ones that I have been wanting to go and backed, it's always been complicated in trying to find where they do sell their books because every single one of them is on a different platform of selling stuff.
Right.
So it's difficult to try to navigate through all that to find the books to actually go and read and support.
Let me ask you this: you visited crowdfunding campaigns, right?
I have seen. Well, I mean yours, but like other ones I've tried to. But like the most recent example was I want to actually go and back a book, and I forgot about it. And then when I actually went to go, and it was like a couple weeks later, then the funds was already raised, and I couldn't back it anymore. So
really? Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's terrible. But here's an example. Here's an example of what I'm talking about.
So I started reading this insane comic called Dwarfs versus Dwarfs.
Mind you, this guy, from the sounds of it, doesn't know anything about the Twitter war. Doesn't know anything about anything regarding Twitter or indie comics. He probably saw this on another TikTok video and he decided to buy it. So just want to give you a little context.
Dwarfs versus Lion. You gotta like a comic of this quality. Look at that. So boom, we're right into it. Lion, there he is. Hurrah. And dwarfs, do they stand a chance? No, they do. Oh gosh, can I even show that on TikTok? I mean, you got a Coomer dwarf for real. That's what he's called, Coomer dwarf. Can I even show that on Sonic? What? You got furries, dinosaur. Why am I channeling JonTron? I mean, there's even a dude my age in here. Look at that. Little one. Dude, I'm like 35. Literally me. So much of this I probably can't show on TikTok. There's Angel Dwarfs? What is even happening? Holy crap. Definitely can't show that one on TikTok. Big Mr. Lion guy, they're going to fuse? I wonder what that's going to look like. Don't worry, backup is here in the form of Lucha Bear and Redneck Orangutan. Yeehaw. Art, though. This is good art. Well, if you want to find out who wins in this absolutely batshit insane comic, you got to go read it yourself. This was actually really good. I like this. Really cool art in here. Lots of violence. It's in my shop link down below there. I'm definitely endorsing this one. This was entertaining. I actually really enjoyed this.
So there you have it. Now, Brian here, this is Brian right here commenting. He says, I'd say 80% of my TikTok customers have never read a comic. And that's exactly what every indie creator should want to, who they want to target. Comic book readers who have never read a comic, trying it out for the first time. And also, on top of that, being impressed as to what they read.
Yeah.
And that's
cool. From my perspective.
I mean, that's what we all want. And I think that should be the target. That's my target anyway for 2024, is to sell my books to not just the comic book reader who's been reading for years and years, but also comic book, people who never read comic books. And just like Brian just said, 80% of his TikTok customers have never read a comic book, but here they are reading it, and not only reading it, making a video about it.
Yeah,
which is something that
on their own.
That should be the goal of every creator. So, yeah, it's gnarly, man. It's gnarly to see that, but it's 2023. Were one of those things where it was a year where a lot of at the end of it anyway, you had a split between two creators who were once, I guess, friendly with one another, and one's Eric July, which we reviewed his book Isom on this show.
Right.
For the record, I was not a fan of Isom. I couldn't finish it. It was just so disengaging. I couldn't finish the book, and there's no disrespect to Mr. Eric July. It's his first book. I totally get it. it's one of those things where I just couldn't finish it. And
I thought it
hopefully
was.
was that?
I thought it was okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, I got more interested in the side characters than I did
Oh,
the
damn
main
it. Sorry,
character.
Benjamin. Sorry.
What happened?
Benjamin is like, Julius doxing my discount code. I'm sorry, man. Oh, there, I removed it. Sorry, man.
So many problems are happening,
Dude,
man.
this
What's
is
up
my
with you?
my 40-year-old brain fucking
Yeah,
slowing
old
down.
man timer.
And then plus on top of that, full disclosure, I have been drinking High West bourbon. So apologies, Mr. Soto. But yeah, like I'm sorry, you were saying, Kyle?
I thought I got more interested in the side characters than I did the actual main character.
Yeah, you got
And
interested in
Isom.
the what was it? What were they called? The
Alpha Core.
Alpha Core. Yeah, I wasn't I just didn't care. I found myself not caring what was happening. There's a lot of things that could have been fixed during the production of of Isom, the story. I wanted to like it. There was potential there. Maybe if you had an editor there, not a copy editor, an actual comic book editor involved in the process of telling the story, it could have worked. It could have worked for me. At least for me, it could have worked. But a lot of people like it, and that's cool too. I have no problem with people liking it. I personally did not find it engaging. I didn't care about the characters, and I didn't care about what was going to happen next. So I'm not going to read the second issue. Maybe by the third Isom, it'll get better, and maybe I'll check it out. But as of now, it just didn't do anything for me personally.
Yeah. Well, and then also we were talking about like Ethan Van Sciver, Cyberfrog.
Cyberfrog, at least the first Cyberfrog, the 90s Cyberfrog was a lot more fun for me, but this one was the Blood Honey was kind of like, whatever.
Or Wrecked Planet.
Yeah, or I'm sorry, Red Planet. You're right, Red Planet.
Yeah,
was another one where I was like,
I did show to my nephew who's 18 the Cyberfrog books, and he instantly loved them, and especially the 90s one. But he did really enjoy the newer one as well. And so I gave him a copy of the old 90s one that I had and put it up on, he sent me a picture of him already up on his shelf along with all his other books.
Nice. So, I could at least see Ethan Van Sciver's allure. His artwork is phenomenal, like absolutely top notch, phenomenally good. His online presence, questionable, but when we're talking comics here strictly, so I don't really it doesn't really play a factor for me at all. But I can see why your cousin, no, you said not your cousin, your nephew, right? Your nephew. Yeah. I can see why he would see that and be like, wow, this is amazing, because his artwork is pretty fucking amazing, for all intents and purposes. So but yeah, him and Eric July had a little beef this week. And
not just this week.
This week, yeah. Well, this week was when it hit the fever pitch, I guess, because there was the talk about, being late and quality. So the late is obviously Ethan Van Sciver. It took him about 3 to 4 years almost to release Cyberfrog. And then Eric July, even though he was on time, the quality wasn't the best as I come to realize as I read Isom #1. But I guess I'll have to say that even like emotions are running high, right, amongst the fans of Eric July and the fans of Ethan Van Sciver. They're butting heads, talking, going back and forth as to who's right, who's wrong. And so my personal take on that is simply like, I kind of see it as a good thing, to be honest with you. Yeah. And here's why. Because comic book feuds are not new. Comic book feuds have been around since fucking the beginning. Alex Ross, we discussed Alex Ross earlier. Him and Mark Waid don't like each other. They don't get along anymore.
Yeah.
And other comic book creators have come out and pretty much discuss how much they don't like each other. I think Grant Morrison and Mark Millar don't like each other. Alan Moore and Grant Morrison don't like each other.
Seems like Grant Morrison's got a beef with everybody.
Grant Morrison has beef with Ray Ramos from 656 Comics. And as Oli mentioned here, Tom McFarlane and Peter David don't like each other. And it's nothing new. So I don't really find it too...
But they were working with each other.
Who? Oh, yeah, they did. But eventually it fell apart because...
Yeah, but EVS and Eric July aren't working with each other.
They did work together. EVS drew a cover for ISOM #2.
Oh.
And on top of that, EVS would have Eric July on his live streams to promote his book. And that's kind of where it started. The first wave, I guess, was the whole like, should you promote other indie creators and so on and so forth. And that was another big hullabaloo that happened, but we don't have the time to discuss that because we're already close to the hour, or we're actually on the hour. So in short, I just want to say personally that it's a good thing that there's this rivalry going on, because what I've been noticing through the high emotions of the supporters of both creators is that now I've noticed that EDVS has been dropping a lot more progress pages for his Rainbow Brute comic book. And Eric July also is kind of shifting around and kind of trying to portray himself as a businessman who can deliver product on time.
Businessman, he's doing business.
Yeah, doing business. Now, whether or not he's going to get better as a writer, that remains to be seen. I have no idea. Hopefully he does, because, as a writer myself, we all want to get better. And I get that.
No, I want to get worse.
You don't want to get worse. No, you don't want to get worse.
What kind of... everybody wants to get better, I guess. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. Some people want to stay the same.
Some people are comfortable. Yeah, some people get comfortable and they don't want to change. And so they just kind of stick around and just kind of stick with what they know and what they're comfortable with. But I think it's a good thing, personally. I don't mind it. I'm actually having a lot of fun reading the back and forths of the threads. Right now, Clayton Barton, who I think he wrote and produced Khazor. It's a comic book called Khazor. And he got into it with Eric July, and that started a whole thing too. Eric the Wapo, another guy I follow on Twitter, he posted something to the likes that he blames. He says that Comicsgate is the reason why indie comics are going to suffer because of late fulfillments. And he screenshotted I think 20 screenshots of late books that are over 2 years old in terms of delivery. And that caused the discussion. But I think it's a good thing. 2024 for me is going to be the year of ownership. You got to own up to your shit in 2024. No more bullshit is going to be tolerated by backers and readers, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. But considering the fact that Eric, who I like, he's always on the 656 streams, taking the side of Ray whenever Ray and I talk about Christopher Nolan, because Ray Ramos hates Christopher Nolan. I love Christopher Nolan, but Eric has good opinions about what good customer service should be, what fulfillment should look like, and we shouldn't, discount his opinions about it. He was right on about it. In my personal opinion, he was, and at the same time, quality is also a factor too. You don't want to discount the quality either, but you got to find that fine balance, right? Let me ask you this, Kyle, since you're a new reader, somewhat. Does that play a factor? The lateness of a book or the quality of a book? What is it that you look for real quick before we move on to is it worth the pickup? What we think could be a major factor when it comes to fulfilling the book on time or delivering the book on time, as opposed to quality of the book?
Well, I mean, ideally you would like both,
right?
Because you want something that's good and on time. But I mean, it kind of depends on how long it's gonna be, because I mean you can have a really great book, uh, and it take a while, but like at a certain point you're gonna have to like hit that point of no return where it's like, you want it to be at least somewhat regular on a regular basis and not have
Right.
to wait so long before you can get the next thing. I mean, we I mean movies and stuff like that take years to get like sequels and stuff, and sometimes the sequels are really good as well. I mean, like look at the John Wick movies. They progress for the most part progressively got better as the movies
They
went
did.
on, and so
Yeah.
you have to, movies, you wait years for them to come out. So it's not like waiting is necessarily bad. It's just I think quality, because as long as the quality is there and it's not too long in between them, I'd say quality is the one that's more. But having things on time is pretty nice as well.
Now, let me ask you this: if you were a backer of a crowdfunding campaign,
Yeah.
what would you prefer? Like, say, okay, if I back this, I'll get this book, next year or in 6 months. And let's just say 6 months or a year pass by and nothing happens. What would you ideally would want to occur if that occurs?
If that occurs, so like say I get the time comes up and that it's supposed to be due, I would want at least an explanation as to why I haven't gotten my book yet,
Okay.
and possibly some sort of compensation for why it is taking longer.
Compensation. What do you mean by that? What kind of compensation are we talking here?
I
That's
don't know.
interesting.
I mean, at least something to make it worthwhile more, that I have to be waiting longer for it.
You have an example as to what that means?
Either in terms of this, I don't know, maybe like having the book signed, or like each book signed, or yeah, maybe free shipping, something along the lines of
Okay.
that you could at least it's more like tolerable as to the reason why it's late. Free coupon Blizzard. Maybe or maybe you'll get a coupon for
Happy Jolie.
a discount. How about this? A discount for when the next book comes out.
Okay, so something that just will be worthwhile essentially.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be big. I mean, I like Blizzards from DQ, so I mean that'd be pretty nice.
Justin says, "I vote for quality. I think of it like music albums. I like a well-produced product I can enjoy over and over. It comes out when ready. However, I like the campaign to run when the book is done." So they have it. I think that's the
That's
sentiment
the thing.
amongst a lot of backers today, is that they're probably going to back more than likely a book that's done or close to being done if they launch a campaign, which is totally fair. I'm also in the same lane as you, Justin. If I don't want to launch a campaign unless I have the book done, or if it's something that's worthwhile that I feel is worth the time to produce, which is what I felt like for Vigilant Fury. But I feel like now I have to gain the trust of backers to I guess to prove that I can deliver a quality product. And I'm hoping that Vigilant Fury does that, and also other books in the future as well that I have in the pipeline. But that's a for sure a legit I guess opinion about what moving forward anyways when it comes to crowdfunding. But okay, that makes the most sense. Actually, you would want to be compensated in some form.
Something.
Yes, with something, right?
Yeah.
An update won't suffice anymore. Like just a simple update.
No, because then they're just like most of those up. Unless it's like super serious, a reason why it's late. I mean, you'd want somebody to take your word and have it mean something. If you're just constantly saying, "I didn't get it done," so but hey, still give me money. It's like that doesn't
See,
necessarily.
Freddie knows, man. When's Vigilant Fury being to calling me out, Freddie. I like that.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't want to speak out of turn. Gambino is expecting a child. The child is due anytime this week. So I'm hoping I'm hoping it might be a little further delay because when you have a baby, it slows you down. But he is 1 page away from completing the book. We're hoping by February or March we have the book ready to ship to backers, all the backers. That includes the first campaign that we launched a year and a half ago, and also the Second Chance campaign. So we're hoping by February or March. Okay, it's going to be delivered first in the book.
Yeah, see?
Be
Gotta get your priorities right, you know?
Thank you, Freddie. I appreciate that. And again, I appreciate the patience of my backers of Vigilant Fury, because, yeah, we were supposed to deliver it last year, and Gambino wanted to change the art style, and we changed it about 20 pages in, and then he stuck with the ink wash style that we eventually both liked, and so we are going to deliver a great product. Ben, just FYI, I sent you the link so you can come on the show, because we're going to do Is It Worth the Pickup right now, because we did go a little bit over, but the conversation was such a good one that it went over. But I sent you the link, so check your DM on Twitter and hop on, because it is now time, Kyle, for Is It Worth the Pickup? I got to get the ready. Hold on.
Like, can nothing work right?
There it is. Is it worth the pickup? So here we are. Is it worth the pickup? Kyle, Benjamin Soto was he volunteered, which I give him a lot of credit for. I didn't reach out to him. He DM'd me and says, "Hey man, I got this book. I want Kyle to read it. I want to sit in the hot seat. I want him to tell me his honest opinion about my comic book, and I'm willing to come on the show and listen to it." And so props to Mr. Benjamin Soto for being a pro for wanting to volunteering to sit in the hot seat and listen to Kyle give his honest opinion about his book. Real quick, Federer says, let's get Second Chance Ghetto. Yes, real quick, Ghetto Dragon, Second Chance. Kyle has a copy of it. I gave him a copy of the first issue. He has his problems with it as well. He gave me a nice little talking to after he read it.
Yeah. We're gonna do a review on it, and I'm
gonna do a
review. Say everything that I said to him when I
in the near future. But yes, Ghetto Dragon Second Chance, it's definitely going to happen this year. I do have one more chapter that was not added to the first campaign that I launched a few years back. This time around, I'm going to have it ready and prepared, and hopefully it's a big enough hit where I could do book 2, because book 2 is going to be fucking wild. But yeah, keep an eye out for that, Freddie. But going back to Is It Worth the Pickup? Ben sent me the comic book that he has, Cephas. I'm sure he'll correct us the title of the book on globalcomics.com. He was nice enough to provide us a discount code for Kyle to purchase, but we couldn't get it to work.
Yeah,
but
I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, but it's all good though. It's all good. It was a fairly priced book, so all good.
I didn't mind paying for it.
So I didn't mind it either, because he let me read his copy. I couldn't find my login for Global Comics, so we're only going to show the first 3 pages, but that's okay because we don't want to show any spoilers either.
Right.
But overall, real quick, I will say that the book was great, but I'll let Kyle.
This is my segment.
Huh? I'm sorry. It's your segment. So please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Ben Soto. Hey Ben, what's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, man. Good. How you doing, man? How's your New Year?
It's pretty good. Pretty good. I'm excited for this year.
Yeah, same here, man.
A lot of work going into future production, future issues.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. So, Kyle, are you ready to provide Mr. Ben your honest thoughts about?
Hold on, I got my tissue ready.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry, Kyle. Before we start, how do you pronounce the name?
Cephas.
Cephas. There you
Yeah, yeah. Kyle had it right.
See, I
Okay.
have. See, you should
Yeah.
always listen to me.
I think I will listen to you going
Even though
forward,
I'm
Kyle.
terrible at pronouncing names.
Cephas the vampire is a 12-page, right, Kyle? If I'm not mistaken.
It's like 14 pages, I think.
14
14,
pages
yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Very, very short. But I dug what I read, but I'll give my thoughts after Kyle gives his reader thoughts. I'll give my quote editorial thoughts after he gives his. So go ahead, Kyle. The floor is yours.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. First off, it sucked. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, good night, guys.
All right. Bye. The show's over.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Brian, you know your book is always welcome. Don't be afraid, man. Face the fear. Let it burn, my friend. Let it burn. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So anyway, so as I always say with everybody, I tremendous respect for everybody that makes a comic book. It takes a lot of dedication and art and work to make it. I have nothing but humble respect for anybody that makes a comic book. For this book, like I said, I actually did buy it and I read through it, and I have to say, I thought it was pretty good, actually. Like
Awesome.
it was. There was. I mean, with everything, there's some things I would like to change, but overall, my sort of overall thoughts was, it was a good backstory. You get to learn the character and at least understand the world that he's in, and you learn a little bit about his character. It's all very believable. I have to say that it flowed very well. I understood everything that was happening for the most part. There were some things that kind of threw me a little, like in this beginning scene. Well, the first page, first of all, was a little jarring because I thought that this was like a second page. I didn't know that this is where it started. I thought I was missing
Oh, gotcha.
something,
Yeah.
starting off. So it really just jumps right in. So
Yeah.
it's both good and bad. It was just a little jarring to me when I first picked it up and I loaded it up. I'm like, wait, did I miss something? I'm like trying to go back. I'm like, no, this is the first page. So there was that. The artwork. Who is the artist again?
Mario Williams.
Mario Williams. Fantastic. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed the art in this book. It was very dynamic. As I mentioned before in my reviews and stuff, I really love facial expressions because it makes things a lot easier to understand what's going on and what the character's point of view and their emotions is when they have good facial expressions. And this is a book that did have that. So kudos to you on that and the artist. There was just some interesting things that I'd say in the story here. Some questions that I had of so his parents just drop him off at a monk monastery and then just leave him. They're like, okay, bye, have a good time.
Pretty much.
It was like a little
time,
jarring
Kyle.
to me.
Different time.
It was a different time.
One another thing too that was jarring for me. We don't have the pages up, but when the demon, let me see if I remember his name, Nephilim. How do you pronounce it? Nevin.
Yeah.
I wish that there was at least a little when he first, I guess, turns him into a vampire. I wish there was more expression, or maybe not expression, but reaction to him becoming a vampire and accepting it and figuring it out, because it just goes right from Nevin saying, okay, I've got something special for you or something like that, and then it cuts instantly to him in that world already.
Right.
Yeah,
He's a vampire.
he's eating drinking the blood of goats.
Blood of goats.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I missing something here? Is he I mean, obviously he's not cool with it per se because
Right.
he's hunting him, but what's his reaction to it? I think that was just
Gotcha.
something that kind of I wish was there.
Okay.
We do get some interactions between him and some of the other vampires, which was nice, and that they sort of like betrayed him. Another thing that is probably going to get explained later, but just something that I noticed was that why he has become so powerful, even though he was in the sun, and usually with vampires, if they're in the sun, they die.
It kills them, right?
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's probably going to be explained later.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. So what it is, like each vampire has a special gift, like,
Okay.
And so his is like just like an extra strength to survive tough situations.
Okay.
Like I have a vampire who turns into mist, and he goes through a person and just draws the blood out that way.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So and I almost put him in this story, but like I really wanted to keep it short and concise.
That was the best thing though, because a lot of the times whenever I read, like we read like Isom, or we read like Cyberfrog was a big not contender, what's the word I'm looking for, offender of that, where it's like it drags on way too much.
Yeah.
You could just cut a lot of this stuff out,
Yeah.
and you'd save a lot of time on yourself, and B, it just simplifies the story. And that was one of the things that I really did enjoy about this book, because it was just so condensed and so streamlined, I would say.
Right.
And you waste no time. There was like I said, there's hardly anything that I would cut. I just say that there's a few things that I wanted to add just to
gotcha.
make it a little bit more interesting.
Right.
Or not interesting, but like
Can I explain more?
yeah, explain more. But obviously you can't explain everything in the first book, so I
Yeah.
understand that. There was one scene that I wish that I want to make a suggestion on, where it's when he's fighting the other vampire in the present day, and he's fighting with the sword, and you have 4 panels that show him in like different stages in the fight, and it's
Yeah.
like different colors based on where he is in that position.
Right.
I read it from like top down, like a Z.
Right.
I would have made the suggestion to read it like backwards, because
Okay.
in my mind it flowed better in terms of the way that the movements happened, where he was like swinging and then make a jump and then come back down and then come around.
I gotcha.
It didn't flow the way. So that was one of the suggestions that I was gonna make.
Cool.
Besides that, yeah, we learned about his character design, is really cool. It's coming off the heels of like what we were just talking about, where me looking more at Spawn stuff, it kind of
Yeah.
is similar to like how Spawn looks, which is pretty cool. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
But this ending shot panel of him in the full body and seeing how he looks,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
dope.
really cool. I
splash.
really dig the character design.
Cool. Thank you.
But yeah, there's like a few other things, but there's like I said, there's not, like, since it's so concise, there's not a whole lot that I would necessarily change.
Right.
And in my opinion, yeah, it was pretty good. Now,
Awesome.
Julius, you also read it. What was
Yep.
your opinions on it?
Yeah, like you, I felt that that first panel there that we're seeing, that small one that's kind of overhead, that's looking over the club. I felt that perhaps we could have done away with that and maybe utilize this whole panel here and just make it into like a somewhat splash with the insert panels at the bottom here.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
Because then that would have been a lot more dynamic, and maybe the angle could have been from, instead of the worm's eye view, it could have been the bird's eye view looking down, and we could have still seen.
Still
You
see the
still would
club.
have had the same effect with seeing the club in the background there.
Yeah.
Because my approach is editorial of like
Right.
how can I, I'm looking through the lens of an editor. So I felt that, I mean, it still worked because the dialogue and the narration flowed beautifully. Like it read well. It didn't there was no hiccups, there was no, it really was very smooth.
Cool.
And I saw here that Keith Gleason was the letterer,
Yes.
and
he
Keith
did a
was-
fantastic job.
Yeah, he did. He really did a great job making sure that everything flowed nicely and spacing the narration out
Yeah.
and making the reading experience very pleasant. And so props to him for doing
Yeah.
that, and also your writing too as well. Let's not discount that either.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was really well done, and it was well paced. But that was only the major, I guess, editorial note I had was that first panel, because it kind of Kyle was right. My first thought was like, wait, is this the second page of the
Yeah.
of the story,
Yeah.
or did I miss something? But if you would have just got rid of that first panel, it would have worked as
I
a
gotcha.
great first panel. Because it's a guy scarred holding the guy over the ledge. That would have been a great shot, opening shot for the story.
Yeah.
Is
I
this
also
guy a
like-
vampire as well?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
He
he's a
is,
vampire.
okay.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
vampire.
So he's
I
also
also
in the
the
sunlight.
other note I had was
Ish.
the scene
Or
when
is that-
he meets the other vampire, and he pulls out his rapier sword,
Mhm.
and I felt that maybe if he had like a mystical element to it, a glow or some kind of something that made it uniquely that didn't just make it into a regular sword, that would have worked for me, because then it would have been more fantastical, more supernatural.
Gotcha.
Was it a magic sword that killed him?
No, it wasn't.
It was just
Yeah,
a
It wasn't
sword.
okay. So when he
Yeah,
kills
just
him
a
in the
regular
end, he just stabs him in the heart, essentially.
He rips his head off. If you look at
Rips
the
his
last
head off,
page,
okay.
you'll see his head on the
Right.
bottom.
Yeah,
And then in
I
the
thought he
background,
just like
against the car, you'll see his body.
yeah. I thought that he just like the way that I read it was that he like took the sword and then like pierced him, and then that's what caused him to like disintegrate type. That's
Yeah.
what I was reading it as.
Gotcha.
But overall, I dug it. I thought it was well done. It really, not introduced, but it mentioned that Cain. Now I'm like, who's Cain?
Right.
Yeah.
What's he all about? Now I
Is
want
he,
to
like-
know
Is
about
it supposed to be
Cain.
like a reference to like Bible Cain?
Could be.
Okay.
Wait, Kyle.
Yeah.
Because when I was reading it in the office, he was like, who's Cain? I was like, yeah, you have to keep on reading it, Kyle. to
Yeah, I
find out."
know.
Yeah.
So I love that. I also love the revenge. I'm a sucker for revenge stories, so I'm all about it.
What
And
about
I
the
love the
title?
look. Is this artist going to be your series artist going forward?
I'd like him to. We haven't really talked about that yet. I've got another project on the plate right now before
Okay.
getting back to this, but yeah.
Yeah, because this I hear, in my opinion, this story here has potential. It really
Right.
does, because I found myself wanting to know more. I want to know what's going to happen, even if it's not a long, drawn out series. Even if it's a
Yeah.
short one shot, the 32 page, 40 something page one shot. This could definitely work for me. So
Cool.
I dug it. I'm especially if you keep this artist intact to continue the story, production of the story. I think you're going to have yourself a solid book here,
Cool.
in my opinion.
And then like, just some of the other things I was, just thinking about, like kind of going with the more understanding him of like, okay, well, obviously he's sort of like on a revenge trip to
Right.
get Nephim, but is this like a suicide, like trying to revenge trip? Like he's like not expecting to come out of this, or is he like looking for a cure or something like that? I assume that this will be explained later, but like,
Yeah, he's definitely not looking for a cure. He's accepted like his fate,
okay.
and he's just going for revenge. Yeah, it's suicide
revenge,
mission.
yeah.
Like even if he dies, like it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter as long as he gets him.
Yeah, he feels like he's redeeming himself and what he is by going after Nevin and stopping him.
Hmm.
Nice.
What did you think about the title, Julius?
I was not a fan of the title, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was, because when I saw the title, it was like Cephas the vampire. I was like, it reminded me of that movie Social Network. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
Remember that scene where he meets the Napster guy and he says, "Oh, drop the. Facebook just sounds so much cooler."
Yes. Yeah.
And I felt that Cephas, just Cephas,
Okay.
would work for me. because who is he? What's that name all about?
Or
And-
C- or the other suggestion was Cephas the vampire hunter.
or that would have worked for me too. But Cephas alone would have also worked because then maybe you could toy around with the title, the design of the title,
Right.
like mess around with it and make it very unique.
Like
in that-
fangs.
Yeah, like fangs or whatever the case.
Yeah.
And then the name is cool too. Like that's a cool sounding name, Cephas. And the fact that immediately you establish that this guy looks fucking cool. The
Yeah.
way he looks.
Yeah.
And you want to give the reader just tidbits of stuff as you start the story, because then that way the reader will want to know more about this character. Because like I said, if you just got rid of that first panel there that's up there, immediately you're like, whoa, what's going on here? Especially when the guy who was being dangled in that third panel there, he says, aren't you one of us?
Right.
And it's like, all right, now I'm intrigued. Now I want to know what's going on here.
Yeah, what makes them so
Yeah.
different then?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then it immediately goes to the backstory, to what happened to this character, and now you're invested. So that was my only I guess editorial note in terms of the title of the book,
Mhm.
because like I said, if you just toyed around with the design of the title, it would still work for me to want
Gotcha.
to read the book.
Cool, man.
So
Awesome.
it
Thank you
sucked.
guys.
So moment of truth, Kyle, is Cephas the vampire worth the pickup, or in this
I say
instance,
yeah.
worth the download?
Can you let me
Global
finish
Comics.
us? Do you just end something without just going and right after that? You keep
Oh, I'm sorry. What,
making a statement.
Did you have more in mind? Did you want to add?
No, but you were like, I was about to give my answer, and then you're like, and it's
Oh,
like,
I'm sorry.
say something and then end so I can talk.
Dude, it's the High West. It's the High West. I'm sorry. It's the High West. Oh, I can't see it. There you go. It's the High West. I apologize.
Yes, it's worth the pickup.
Thank you,
There you have
Kyle.
it.
Thank
Go
you.
find it. Get
There
it.
you
It's
have
worth the pickup.
GlobalComics.com is a great alternative to Comixology for those of you who don't know. I think they're pretty good so far. I have the Good Old Dragon first issue on there for free to read, the first issue. It's very user friendly. I have no problems with the website at all, and so I'm looking forward to see how this company's going to grow, because I think they've done leaps and bounds better to what Comixology did when they were around. What do you think, Ben? You agree or?
Definitely, and I think they're out to help the creators, because I don't know
Yeah.
if you know this, but they'll give you like a QR code that you can print out and put on your table, so that if you go like table somewhere, people just scan
Nice.
it and it takes
Nice.
them directly to your link.
That's cool.
They also have, if you let them know you're running a campaign, on your page they'll put a banner on there that has a link to your campaign
Nice.
when you're running a Kickstarter or something.
There you go.
So yeah, they're doing lots of stuff to help the creators.
Do you have any questions for us, Ben, or any thoughts or
Yeah,
or
thoughts on
whatever
our
you may have?
opinions.
No, they're all valid. No, I appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear feedback, because you know this, Julius. A lot of times our books go out and you just never hear back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's
How-
like the worst thing. How do you know to get better, or what you need to improve on if you don't hear back?
How long have
Exactly.
you been working on this book?
So it's an anthology, and this one, man, I probably wrote it in a couple of weeks. But I've got like 6 or 7 stories that I'm going to throw into this anthology. So I'm going to launch that campaign this July, and this is going to be one of the stories in there.
Is it part of that world, or is this like a separate thing?
There is another story in there that's part of this world. So for me, when I do an anthology, it's like when an artist has a sketchbook and they can play around and just kind of do different stuff in the sketchbook. To me, that's what this anthology series is. It's like a writer's sketchbook. I can come in, I can play however I want, throw it all in one book, and sell it that way. But
Awesome.
so I do have 2 characters. This one, and there's a Skinwalker story, and they're both connected in the same universe.
Cool.
Badass. All right. Sweet.
Yeah.
Kyle, is there anything else you want to add to this segment of yours?
I don't think so. I mean, I was just gonna. I was gonna say that this was another. I'm flipping through the panels. This was another one of the character designs that I really liked.
Oh, let me blow you up. Give me a second.
This guy, Santiago.
Yes,
Santiago.
you know what, Ben? Shame on
Yeah.
you for cutting this guy off right away.
Yeah, he's cool.
Because he was cool looking. He really was cool looking, and I wish we could have seen more of this character because he was really cool. He was very likable, even though he was obviously a bad guy.
The bad guy, right?
Yeah, but I would have liked to have seen more of that character because, I'm a sucker for also a good villain too. Like you know,
Yeah.
if you have a good villain, then I'm all about it. I want to see more of what you can do with that character.
I will
But,
say though, reading through it again, that some of the dialogue was a little too on the nose. I wish it was like they were saying exactly what they were feeling. I was wishing that they maybe had a little bit more history, or maybe like him using a little bit more eloquent terms and stuff like that, and trying to get his point across, because he seems like he's like that sort of type of character.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that too. But how old are you, Kyle? I'm just kidding.
Wow, you were waiting for that.
I was, man. I was, man.
You were you just had that in your back pocket. You was like, there you go.
I learned that one from Ray, so.
Shout out to
Meanwhile,
Ray Ramos
Julius's
from
lamp's falling
6x6.
over again.
No, I totally see what you're saying. That's totally valid. Yeah, I might bring the character back in the sense that we'll get backflashes of Nevin and what he went through with some of these characters, because I've got lots of characters. You know how when you first start writing comic books, you've got this idea for this huge magnus opus kind of a story.
Yes.
Mhm.
This is just a small glimpse into that huge world. This guy's like the
I think that works
boogeyman.
well,
Yeah,
because then
Cephas is like the boogeyman of that world. And there's other vampires and werewolves and a whole bunch of other characters.
Cool.
So is this sort of inspiration from John Wick, where it's he's
I've never seen John Wick.
really
What?
Yeah,
No,
seen John
I don't
Wick.
believe you.
No, never have.
You never seen John Wick? Ben?
Nope. No, I
Oh
do
my
want to check it
goodness.
out. I just haven't made it. I just haven't done it.
Oh,
You
dude,
should
you
watch
need
it.
to check that out. Oh my
Yeah.
god. But my final thoughts is I hope you continue doing this project. I hope the artist is available to complete the project, because I am digging what I'm seeing, and the artist did a great job laying out, not laying out, but with the sequentials. I
Yeah.
was really impressed with his timing and all that. So I hope that you complete it. However
Right.
long it may be, because
Right.
I am curious to see how he gets his revenge. What
Yeah.
exactly he has planned for his revenge.
Cool.
Yeah, I think you had a sufficient enough hook that made me want
Nice.
to actually go and actually want to go and find out what happens. And at least if I don't pick up all the rest of them, I want at least the whole series. So that way I can read the whole thing,
Nice.
the whole story. But
Well,
yeah,
that's good to hear. That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I've
it's
got-
worth, and
so-
it was worth it too for just $2, or I think it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's so refreshing to $2. I mean, that's
This is
that was like when I was a
$2
kid.
here. This $2 is so much better than the $5 that I pick up at on store shelves right now. And
Shots
Wow,
fired.
that's awesome.
I mean, some of the stuff that I'm reading is it's so boring, and it's so we were talking about in the main topic here. It's it gets boring after a while. This one at least was a little bit interesting.
Cool.
Yes.
Even though
I
it's
was
even
interested.
though it's just characters that are like the vampires that are well established and not old, what I mean,
Right.
but they've been around a long time. People know about vampires and stuff. It's not like it's a brand new type of idea type stuff, but it's
Right.
you've got a spin on it that makes it cool.
Awesome. It's good to hear. That's the goal.
Yeah. So
I have
hopefully
added
that
the
helps.
link to the chat, so if you guys want to check out Ben Soto's Cephas the Vampire.
Cephas the Vampire. Yeah.
Cephas the Vampire
Cephas the
on
Vampire.
globalcomics.com. The link is in the chat. Check it out. It's only $2. Is as Kyle said, it's worth the pickup. It's only 12 pages. Right?
14.
14
Man,
pages. So
you
it's only
just
14
can't
pages
get
long, so
anything
it
right.
shouldn't take you that long.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take you that long to to read through it and get excited and intrigued to what's going to happen next with this character. So there you have it, folks. It's worth the pickup. So check it out. Don't be afraid
Awesome.
to download the app as well. Globalcomics.com is a great website. I'm a
Yeah.
personal fan of it. I think it has a lot of potential, and I really am looking forward to how they grow and how much it's going to benefit indie creators like myself and Ben here,
Yeah.
and also for Kyle as well, who's a reader of books.
I do have a question though. Is this ever going to be printed, or is it only going to be a digital copy?
No, it's gonna be printed. I'm gonna run the campaign in July. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I definitely would like to pick up a physical version.
I'm sorry to disappoint, Justin.
That's my brother.
Yeah. Well, that's how brothers are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have
No,
one.
it
but,
really
you know.
was. It really was. If Kyle, wasn't happy, he would have let it be known. But hey,
Oh, yeah.
for this one, you delivered, and
Awesome,
you
man.
didn't disappoint. So, with that said, yeah, I guess that I think that pretty much sums up the show, right, Kyle?
I think so. I've got nothing else to add.
Yeah, I got nothing else to add either. Just the last word I want to say is, 2024 is going to be a good year, I think, for indie comic book creators. I think it's going to definitely be the year of ownership. Like I said in the beginning of the stream, we're going to have to just step up our game and really bring our A game to delivering quality products on time. And hopefully, we don't bump heads with other creators, because we all want to get along. But I also realize not everyone's going to get along either. There's just sometimes certain characters, certain
personalities.
certain personalities just they can never jive. They always clash.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. It's always best to just avoid them. But when it comes to egos, you don't want to avoid. You want to clash.
Mhm.
But I'm hoping that 2024 will definitely be the year where a lot of indie creators will shine, and a lot of readers will look forward to reading new material from indie creators, because that's where I believe personally the creative spirit is really alive and well, and it's in the indie scene, because we're hungry. We want to entertain, and we don't have the editorial weight of binding ourselves down to the brand. We can expand and try things out and see what works and what doesn't work. So 2024 is definitely going to be the year of indie, I believe. So here's to that.
Cheers.
So,
Cheers, bud.
Yeah, cheers.
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 Yeah, I think you've had enough, Julius.
I don't think I've had enough just yet, Kyle.
Yeah, well,
But
your
that said,
entire
next week,
studio's being torn apart every single second.
what studios?
Your studio, your setup.
Oh,
Yes.
well, to be fair, that was my little girl coming in here and destroy things. But it's all good. It comes with the territory of being a father to a child, so it's all good. So yeah, with that said, join us next week as we do another episode of Let's Talk About It. Who knows what other topics may arise in the coming week? Who knows what other feuds will pop up in the next coming week? Who knows what fights will happen, or news or of certain topics like movies or comic books, whatever the case may be. Oh, hey Jim, what's up, dude? No editorial weight can be good and bad. That's true. It all depends.
Yep, that's true.
It all depends. But join us next week as Kyle and I will discuss whatever topic may happen or whatever thing that we may want to talk about. Who knows? But we definitely will have another Is It Worth the Pickup. And if you're a comic book creator that listens to the replay or is watching now, if you want to be on the show, just contact me on Twitter. You can contact me on Instagram. And if you want to be on the show, hey, just hit me up and we'll have you on like Ben here. And Kyle will give his honest thoughts and opinions about your book. Just a fair warning. He may not like it. And he
Right.
may tell you to your face that he's not a fan. Don't take personal offense. Just take it with a grain of salt as well, but also as a chance to grow, because we want feedback from readers. That's
Right.
what we want.
Yeah.
As much as it may hurt our feelings, it's always best to hear an honest take from a reader who purchased your book. So don't be afraid. Come,
I'm not-
Kyle,
yeah.
you want to say something?
And I just say that I'm not trying to go out and say, oh, this is bad because it's bad, or this is bad because it's bad. I always try to at least
Right.
give some justification of why I thought this, or how it could have been different in my mind.
Absolutely.
And different
Yeah.
things like that. At least that's how I hope I come across. I'm not just gonna just say everything's terrible because it's terrible, and I'm not just gonna say everything's great because it's great either.
There you have it.
Yeah.
And that's what it should be.
That's why I came on, is because you guys are giving me honest feedback, and I really appreciate that. That's what I was looking
Yeah.
for.
That's what we try to do.
That's exactly right. So join us next week and the weeks coming after, because we're going to do this every Friday, live, 7:15 Pacific Standard Time. If you are, once again, if you're an artist, hit me up, or a writer, hit me up if you have a book, and we can have you on the show. If not, it's all good. You don't have to come on the show. We could just review your book. And we're going to stick with reviewing indie books every Friday. We're going to do other videos among other books, but every Friday when we go live, we're definitely going to review indie books, because I think that's the best way to do it going forward in 2024. So Kyle, say goodnight. Ben, say goodnight.
All right, bye guys.
Oh, wait,
Nice.
actually, sorry.
Man,
Ben.
what is with you?
Hold on, Ben. Where can people find you?
On Twitter at Behemoth Studios.
And Instagram? No, you don't have an Instagram. That's right.
I don't have an Instagram. I do have Facebook, and actually Halloween Head Comics has a Facebook page. So if you look up Halloween Head Comics on Facebook, you'll find our Facebook page where I post updates.
There you go. So
Sounds good.
Kyle, any plugs you want to put in or no?
We already said goodbye.
All right, guys. Yeah, guys, have a good night. Have a good Friday. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Bye, guys. Okay. Nope.
Whoops.